Hello there everyone and welcome back to another Umbara MOC update video, and in this video I'm going to be working on a large building in the back of the MOC as well as continuing the road. Overall it's a very exciting episode, and without any further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so the first thing that I worked on here was continuing the road throughout the main city area. So going from here up through into the city area. One thing I'm starting to wonder first off before I show you guys is if I should change these steps to dark bluish gray instead of light bluish gray right now. I think that'll just fit in better with the road, so I might end up changing those if I've got time eventually here. But essentially I'm just taking this design here and it's going right through the city. The middle part's a little bigger just due to the space, so it's not as narrow and windy. This one was very narrow and kind of winding through. This one kind of is spreading out as we get into the city area, but the exact same design as the battlefield. Here's what it looks like from the other side here. So I'm liking the way this is mixing in with the buildings. I think it's looking pretty cool. I had to add a little bit of a kind of light gray tile over there to blend it a little bit better. And same over here, as you can see with this 212th Trooper down here. I think this is going to look really cool. So one thing is I'm stopping this design over here and it's stopping it over there, and I'm going to primarily use this design to come through the rest of the city around the buildings. The reason I'm doing that is just mostly a parts reason. These tiles, I don't really have any more left, and they're kind of a little difficult to get sometimes, so I've kind of expended my resources for this tile design. So I'm going to have to use this main one to kind of curve in throughout the rest of the road, but I still think it'll look pretty cool. So this is what I've got for the start of this episode, and I've got a few more things to work on here. Alright, the next thing here is another building. I've started on the back side of the build, and I decided to go with a dark gray building for this one. I had a few comments, so shout out to you guys suggesting perhaps to try a dark gray building, and I've kind of been pondering that idea myself for a while. So I decided to do that for this back building, and this is the design I've got so far, using kind of a panel on the front and then translucent blue to mix in with it to kind of keep it in line with the rest of the city. One thing that I noticed while I was building this was it just happens to look like this same design right here, a very similar design. So I'm wondering if I need to change that up at all or not, or if I should just keep it like it is. So I'm going to try to find a couple ways to make it a little bit different from these previous buildings that I did, but keep a similar kind of look and design to it. So I'm going to continue to work, and up to you guys once I have a little bit more progress on this building. Alright, here we are guys. I worked a lot more on the building, and this is what we are looking like. Again, like I said, it's looking similar to the other buildings, but I think that works because I like the idea that a lot of these buildings are similarly structured. I did this one a little bit differently though, so hopefully at first glance you can kind of tell they're somewhat similar, but they're also different with the dark gray and then with the windows. So you can see I've added in some windows over there, and I'll be able to put some minifigures in there. As you can see, I've got some 212th Airborne troops in there, and I'll be able to have some action and hopefully put a couple lights in there as well. So here's what the building is looking like from the front. And just if you guys are curious, here's what the inside of this building looks like. It won't be visible during the public days. I'll have this covered up for the final MOC as well, because I'll need kind of to cover that up for the wall, and so you don't see the inside of the building and such, but I just thought I'd show you guys kind of what we're looking like in here with some of the structure support and everything like that. Since you can see through the windows, I added in a little bit of floor design, nothing too complex because you won't be able to see too much of it, but I definitely will have some figures in here, and this is just kind of a hallway inside of this main building, and you'll be able to look through kind of the windows right there, see the figures, and but this will be covered up right here. So yeah, lots of cool stuff going on with this building, and I'm going to continue to get some work done. Alright, I've got a lot more work here on the building. The main thing I've done is add an entrance, and then I've blocked this off right here, again using a very similar design to what I did for the previous building. So this whole area is now blocked off with a panel right there, and then here's what I've got for the entrance so far. I wanted to go with a little bit of a light gray entrance and the trans kind of light or neon green, the trans neon green, just because I have some of those designs inside the building. I thought it'd be cool if the entrance had that design as well. And I wanted to slope it out just because I think that just kind of fits with the vibe of the city. And since I built this so high, we've got, or at least I built the first floor. I don't know why, it's just kind of a happy accident, I suppose. Because I built to the first floor, or the first window that high, I decided to do some stairs. So we got some stairs that go up into there. And now you can kind of look through here and see an Umbara in there and kind of the pilot droids or other droids in there. So I can set up a little scene that you can look through this way and see it. And then from this point of view over here, you'll be able to see with all the lights and everything, you'll be able to see the inside of the building with battles going on and everything like that. So my next step is to maybe touch this up a little bit, but the next big thing is going to be the roof and how exactly I'm going to figure that out. I always have a hard time with roofs. It's one of my weaknesses as a builder. and I finally decided to do an entrance to a building. That's kind of been a running joke. I don't know how many people, if you guys have noticed, in my previous like Munilist builds and stuff like that, I tend to not do very many doors just because I feel like it doesn't look as good. I really like kind of the flat sides of buildings and doing the details, but I've never been really big or good at building kind of entrances or doors to buildings. So I was able to include one right here. So hopefully you guys think it looks pretty cool. And I'm gonna go ahead and work some more, try to figure out what I'm gonna do with this roof, and then this building will be almost finished. So here's the entrance to the building with those lights in there, and you can see in there a little better, which I think is pretty cool. Got a pilot droid as well as an Umbara in there. So here is the entrance right there, and I think it's looking pretty good. I also tiled off the top as well, and we'll probably have some clones stacked up. You know, maybe I'll have them stacked up on the side right here, getting ready to breach this building, maybe throwing a thermal detonator in there or something like that. I think that'll be pretty cool. As for the building here, there are the lights inside of the building. You can see some of the figures have unfortunately fallen over, so I think I'm gonna have to set these up at the convention. I was kind of hoping to just have them set up permanently in here, so I don't have to do it at the convention, but I think I'm gonna have to do it in the convention and make sure to get all these figures set up so they're looking pretty good. But once I get that done, you'll be able to see all the way through, in through all these windows and see the awesome action that's going on. So the last thing that I need to do here is add a roof. So that's kind of the last thing, and unfortunately I'm not very good at those, so I'll see what I can come up with. Alright guys, so a lot of progress has been made. I may have mentioned this in the video at the beginning here, but essentially what I'm doing here is Brickworld is so close that I am essentially pre-recording 2 or 3 episodes here at once to try to make sure I get them all finished up and completed in time for the finale for Brickworld and everything like that. So what I ended up doing was completing this building. So there wasn't much to it earlier. I have now completed the building and installed a bunch of lights with the interior as well. And the roof on top there with the sniper droideka. I've always thought those things were pretty cool, so hopefully I can use them here in the MOC. But there is the building. It is pretty much complete now. It turned out okay, but again, unfortunately what's happening now is I did not allocate my time very well, so I can't make very many modifications, and it kind of just has to be the way it is for now. So here's what I've got for the building. Here's what it looks like compared to the other buildings as well. And definitely ended up a little larger than I thought, but I think the main kind of interesting point about this one is the interior. Here is the first interior on floor 1 here of this building. Some control panels and different things over there on the side, and tiled floors and everything like that, and just control panels and some wall design back there as well. So that'll be pretty cool. You can kind of look in there and see the Umbarans and droids, you know, doing all their tacticalness, all their tactical planning and stuff like that. And we go up to the next floor in here. I kind of have almost like kind of like an apartment complex, but not necessarily. I just have like 2 rooms. So there's an entryway right there. And if I can swing the camera around, there's another entryway right there using some arches and stuff like that. And we just have some commando droids going door to door, perhaps trying to either evacuate the civilians, or maybe they're conscripting a bunch of Umbarans who haven't joined the militia yet. But there is building number 2, floor number 2, same wall design, mostly the same floor design, but just different interior designs there with the entrances right there. You can kind of see the archway in there, and it's like light gray in there. So here are the 2 floors, a control panel room and kind of a almost like hallway with 2 rooms. So hopefully that'll be kind of the main attraction for this building. That's pretty much it for this structure. Pretty much done on this one, and I'll be able to set up hopefully some cool figures up on top as well. With some clone troopers fighting and kind of maybe up top, or maybe this will be mostly droid kind of controlled and there'll be a bunch of snipers up top there like I have. So for this episode, these are the 2 buildings that I have been working on. Last thing I need to do is add in 2 more roofs to those. Well, I guess I got the roof done for that one. I just need to add the roof on for that one, and that'll probably be a finale thing. I'm probably going to call it here for this episode. Got a decent amount of progress done with the road and these 2 buildings. Last kind of remaining things here for the last episode. I'm going to have 1 more episode and then the finale. That is my plan. Maybe 1 more episode sprinkled in there about lights. I'm not really too sure yet what the plan is, but for the main episodes, I've got 1 more left plus the finale at this point in time. And what I need to do is add, finish this area and the road. The road's probably gonna have to be finished at Brickworld, but I need to focus on filling this space with more buildings. So I want to have 1 more building right here at a decent size. Originally, I wanted to have a main building in the middle here, but one thing that I was kind of concerned about and really trying to think about for all this time is if I put a building in the middle, is it going to block out all these other structures? You know, if you're looking this way into the MOC, there's going to be a building here. If I put a building in the middle, that might block those two buildings. And then if you're looking, you know, through this way, that building might be blocked as well. So I've kind of thought of a couple different scenarios here, but stay tuned for next episode where you'll see me figure that out. Right now I'm kind of leaning more towards perhaps a courtyard of some sort of thing. I've got a few ideas for that, so perhaps a courtyard in the middle and one more building. Lots of stuff left to do. As of the time of recording this, I have, I think, 6 days until the convention, so hopefully I can pull this off. But that's going to be it, and let's go ahead and move on to the outro. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you did enjoy. There will be one more episode before the finale. I'll be working on one more building as well as a couple things here and there. As always, leave your feedback in the comment section below. Hope you guys have a great day, and may the force be with you always.